What up, yo? Oh, damn, my bad, y'all. What's up, brother? What's up? What's up? Let's see what's going on, man. Yeah, bro, you know how I do. I just jump on this shit randomly. I was getting ready to practice. Yeah, man, it's that meditation, what I'm talking about with the doing it like a workout where you do 10 seconds and you take a break and you do 10 seconds and 20 seconds. That shit is so good, bruh. It took me a long time to figure out that's how you want to do it. But yeah, man, that way that I'm talking about doing it, I don't see nobody else talking about that shit like that. Like to do the rest, you do it and then you rest and then you do it again and you rest. Like that shit is so powerful, bruh. It works so good. And you know another thing that people don't understand is like people don't understand like you can't even fully meditate until you warm the brain up. Like people don't get that. Like people think you could just meditate for 5 minutes and it's going to do something. You know what I'm saying? It's like imagine you work out and you pick up the weight and you do like one warm up set. You feel me? It's like it's not gonna do nothing. Like you gotta get the blood in the muscle, then you gotta go heavier, 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 heavier. Then you finally at the end is where you start doing the enough that it creates the changes. You feel me? So those first like 15 minutes of the meditation, that's just the warm up. Like that's just the warm up. You gotta like that's once you hit like get like 15 minutes into it, that's when it starts for real. Like yeah, that's what people don't understand. You know what I'm saying? But goddamn, I'll tell you one thing right now, bro. I do that meditation. All I gotta do is all I gotta do is do that shit for like 2 nights in a row, and I start having lucid dreams. Like it's I got that shit down to a science. My brain's kind of already set up to do it though, like the projections and the lucid dreams because how I did that shit for so many years and how good I got at it. But That shit will work for anybody, bro. That meditation that I describe in the videos is basically like a super version of what I did to get my first projection. Basically, like the meditations I did to get my first astral projection, it's like I like honed it in, like I figured out, like I refined it, and I figured out exactly like I pinpointed exactly how you have to, what you have to do with your brain to make it work. But yeah, man, y'all can comment questions and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna be on here for too long. I'm just checking in real quick. You know, it's funny as hell. I be going live and people see that I go live and they join my shit and I'm just in pitch black. Probably like, what the hell? Yo, what up? What up, Dan? What's going on? I don't know if y'all can hear me, but yeah, I'm only here to answer questions. That's the whole point of these lives. When I go live, it's only to answer questions. How far have I gone? What do you mean by that? Like, how far away from my body have I gotten? I mean, you want to talk about, if that's what you mean, um, what do you mean by how far have I gone? What do you mean by that? Yo, Da Vinci, I don't know if y'all can hear me, or I don't know if y'all can hear me, or I don't know if the chat takes a long time to load in what y'all are writing, but I've heard it was levels upon levels in the astral realm. I don't know if y'all can even hear what I'm saying. Hold on. I don't know if can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear what I'm saying? Cause I'm gonna answer your question. What's going on, bro? What's going on, everybody? Okay, all right, cool. All right, so basically, what's up, Shadow? Love your content. Hoping I can exit one of these days. Yeah, man, you will if you keep meditating. I'm telling you. But yeah, so Da Vinci, the farthest I've gone, like levels, this is the levels, bruh. It's basically just you exit your body and you fly around in the world, right? And then other than that, like there is levels to it. You can go to places that are really, really crazy, bruh. Like when I mean crazy, I mean like if you like end up flying around inside of a kaleidoscope. Like I don't know if you know what a kaleidoscope is. Like that crazy ass shit where you look in it, it's a bunch of different shapes and colors and geometry. You can end up flying around in a place like that, bro. Like it gets really, really insane. Like you can go into tunnels and shit. Like in terms of levels, I mean, there's like 3 levels, I guess. The regular world, the crazy places, and the tunnels. That's really the well, and there's the deep black void. I call it the I call it the deep black void. That's basically deep sleep. That's really hard to get there. I did that one time. Any dreams recently? Yeah, man, Shadow. I had a lucid dream, I think 2 nights ago. Dog, it was a crazy one too. I had a lucid dream. I started to become aware. I was like on like the third story of this like apartment complex facility school type of place. And I'm looking out at this pond, and there's these things like these crickets making noise on the pond, and they're making like ripple like waves in the pond, right? And I'm looking at all these ripples of these waves in the pond, and I start to become aware that I was dreaming, but like I'm so used to it that it's now when I become aware, it's such like a calm thing. Like when I years ago, I used to become aware and I used to go, oh shit, and just start flying around. Now I just it's almost like I'm so used to it that I started to become aware, and I just calmly start looking at stuff, and I started paying attention to the ripples in the water, and I started trying to pay attention to how detailed they were, like how structured the ripples in the water were, and how they moved, and how they maintained their shape as they move through the water, because I'm paying attention to this fine details to see how detailed the realities in the brain can get, bruh. And they were perfect, bruh. The ripples were perfect. They maintained their structure, and they moved, and they rippled correctly. It's so detailed. It amazes me. And then I just basically flew down, and then it was like the beach. It turned into the beach, and I was just going around on the beach. I did it once when I was around 10. Went to a friend's house and told him what he was wearing. I felt myself flying. It was insane. Felt going up and down. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm getting back into the vivid dreams. Yeah, dog. Oh man. Should I try to fall asleep right after I listen to your meditation, or when do you recommend we use it? Okay, so I'm gonna explain this like real simply. All right. So the meditations, they're basically just training your brain to automatically have a projection or a lucid dream. So the meditation is just they're training your brain to have one. You know what I'm saying? So if you really want to increase your chances as high as possible to have one, there's three things you do. You do the meditations over the long, like you make that part of your nightly routine or whatever. Over the course of months and months and months, you just do the meditations every day, stack the days up. That's one. Two is you do the sleep wake method, where you sleep for about 6 hours, and then you stay up for like 10 minutes. You do the meditation for like 10 minutes, and then you go back to sleep while doing you meditate back to sleep basically. And then the third, so I'm gonna explain that again. You after you sleep for 6 hours, you're in the perfect brain state where when you go back to sleep for that last time, you're gonna have the best chance of having a lucid dream or an astral projection. So you want to kind of lightly meditate, focus on the present moment, and then your way back to sleep. Like you just meditate for like couple, like 5-10 minutes on your way back to sleep, and then do that. And then the other thing you could do is throughout the day, you become consciously aware of the present moment. You look at your hand and you ask yourself, am I dreaming? And you pay attention to your hand in the present moment for a couple seconds, and then you go on about your day. And then you look at your hand again, pay attention to the present moment, ask yourself if you're dreaming, and then just go on throughout your day. Like you do that like 30 times a day. So those three things that's it. You know what I'm saying? Should I try to fall asleep? Yeah. But yeah, that's basically it, man. What's up, Peter? What's going on? Those are the three things. You sleep for 6 hours, meditate a little bit, 5-10 minutes, and then fall back asleep. You do the real full meditations before you go to sleep every night, or whenever you want to do it throughout the day, as long as you get in like a solid 30-minute session. And then besides that, you do the reality checks. Now, the reality checks where you'll just go on throughout your day. Like, say you're just walking around in a day, you just look at your hand, pay attention to the details of your hand, your fingers, the size of your fingers, pay attention to the present moment, and then look at it and ask yourself, am I dreaming? And really look and check if you're dreaming. And then you just do that for a couple seconds and then put your hand down, just go on throughout your day. And you basically, that's a reality check. So you basically want to do like 30 of those a day. So you do the reality checks, the meditation, and then the sleep thing where you sleep for 6 hours and meditate a little bit and go back to sleep. You do all three of those things consistently, you are definitely going to have a lucid dream, which is the same thing as an astral projection. And you're definitely going to get one. Sleep-wake method worked for me most of the times, but I never tried meditating after waking. Only body scan. Body scan is meditation. Anything where you're consciously controlling your mind on purpose is basically the meditation. For sure. Hopefully I can get it to last longer. Getting it to last longer is I'm gonna talk about that real quick. I just poke in the middle of the other palm as a reality check. Yeah, you could do that too, Shadow. You could do that too. Anything where you're paying attention real quick, it will probably work. So what you're okay? The thing you're talking about, making them last longer, Onyx. The biggest thing that got me to make them last longer was when you're in the projection and you can kind of tell it's about to end. There's two things that you could do. One of them is like, say you're in front of your house in the middle of the street, whatever, you're in the projection, lucid dream, it's starting to end. You pay attention and you go, no, I don't want it to end, and you kind of like move forward. Like you just keep moving forward in the projection, and you just think, no, don't end, and just focus on the thought of keeping it going. That's one thing that has worked for me to keep it going. And another thing that I got really good at is when the projection is ending and you're going through that surface level black void between the projection and waking up. While you're in that black void, or you're just slightly waking up, just try to keep visualizing where you just were in the projection. Just keep visualizing, keep that imagination, that image in your head of where you just were in that projection, that scene, that whole scenery. Just imagine that image and just keep imagining that you're going forward into that imagination. So as you're waking up out the projection, just keep imagining where you just were and moving forward into that imagination. And you can go right back into it and go into it for another 20 seconds. And then you get pulled out again, and then you imagine it again. You go right back into it for another 20 seconds. I've done it sometimes where I did that like 6 times in a row, where I was like going back into the shit for like 10 minutes. Like I'll go back in for a minute, get back out, go back in for a minute, get back out. Have you ever had sleep paralysis? Oh, Shadow, hell yeah, I've had sleep paralysis. Yeah, I've had sleep paralysis. I get that shit all the time, bruh. Like, because there's some times where I have a hard time exiting, where I get stuck in the sleep paralysis, and I'm like, fuck, I can't rip out. And I'm like doing all the techniques, and it's just not working. And I'm just stuck there in a black void in my bed. It's stuck, can't move, can't do shit. Yeah, I've had that happen a bunch of times where I couldn't control it. I couldn't exit. Well, I see. Well, I never heard this tip before. Damn, it sounds like... Well, Onyx, you gotta understand, bro. I'm like, when I say that, I'm like, compared to most people that talk about this subject on YouTube, I'm definitely gotta be in the top 10% of, like, in terms of like how advanced I am at it. Cause like when I say I did this shit, I've done this shit over 1,000 times. I'm not capping about that. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like it's over 1,000 times. Like there were like years where I would do it like every single night, multiple times a night. And like I would go deep into that shit, bro. Like I would get into tunnels. I would fucking go to, bruh. I figured shit out about those astral projections that is so insane that like even if I like explain it, people are not gonna understand what I'm saying. Will you upload recording of this session? Yeah, I'll upload it. Yeah, yeah. Go to. You can go to work, bro. I'm gonna keep this session posted. I'm not gonna delete it this time. I'll keep it up. When you astral project, do you ever follow the cord back? There's no cord. That's another misconception that people have is the silver cord or the cord of light or whatever like that. There's no cord. Yeah, the cord, the whole projection is just your imagination. It's a reality that your brain is generating. So the cord can either be there or not be there, depending on whether you want it, whether you imagine it or not, or whether your subconscious has it set to be there or not. It's not like a set in stone thing. It's whatever your brain wants. Some people see it, some people don't. It's because they've heard about it in their subconscious mind, built that into the framework of the realities in their head, and that's why it's there. Some people, it's not there. Successful 2 days ago. That's good. That's good, Da Vinci. Yeah, it's fun having them, right? That shit is so fucking. It's crazy having them, bruh. It's like sometimes you can have them that are so strong that it's like, God damn. You wake up and you're like, God. I've never seen the cord, just heard it. Yeah, Shadow, I've never, ever seen a cord. I've done that shit over 1,000 times. I've never seen a cord of light or a silver cord or nothing like that. And now I've looked back at my bed and I've seen different stuff in my bed. Most of the time I don't see nothing in my bed. One time I seen like me, but it was like a shadow me. It was like a shadow me laying in the bed. Sometimes I look back in the bed, there's nothing in the bed. It's not, like I said, nothing is set in stone. It's all made by the brain. It's all made by the brain. I keep trying to tell people that, people don't understand. They don't understand. I try explaining it, people don't get it. It's made by the brain. But it's like, and one thing that I be trying to tell people is like, yeah, it's made by the brain, but that's still fucking crazy. like, like people don't get it. Like people, like, I guess people want it to be outside the head. I've seen me sleeping and I woke myself up. God damn. Yeah, it's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But you know what happened was when you're waking yourself up, you're seeing yourself in the bed and you're waking yourself up in a projection, what's really happening is you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm waking myself up, so I should be waking up now. And because you're thinking that, that's why you're waking up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, going right back into it. Yep. 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 That's when I say when I was saying before that when I said in my video I skip the sleep paralysis stage where I was talking about the stages, and I say I don't do it like this anymore. I just skip past all this shit, like the sleep paralysis and all that. The way that you're going right back into the projection, that's how I go into it now. I don't even go through the sleep paralysis. I'm starting to fall asleep. I start imagining flying out through my hallway, and I just push into the imagination until I'm completely immersed in it. There's no sleep paralysis or anything. And I could start the projection off wherever I want to. It's really wherever I imagine, you know what I'm saying? But It's, you know, one thing I wish I could show y'all, or like one thing I wish I could make y'all experience is the tunnels. If you believe there's a chord, you'll probably see it. I've astral projected several times, and I've noticed that when whatever I think about usually manifests when I observe my thoughts. It's in the brain. Exactly, Onyx. Exactly. Exactly. I start falling through the couch bed on my exits. Yeah, yeah, Da Vinci. There's all kinds of shit that can happen. You could fall through the bed. You could fall on the floor. You can. One time, bruh, I started floating up. Then I started floating in the middle of my room, and I started getting pulled towards my wall. And I'm like, God damn, bruh. I'm like, go this way, go this. I'm trying to get my fucking astral body or whatever to move a certain direction, but I couldn't control it. I'm like, God damn, bro. What? And I'm thinking the whole time as I'm flying into the fucking wall uncontrollably, I'm thinking to myself, why can't I control this shit? The one thing I heard is the sound of an airplane engine sound. I've heard of that before. I've heard of people I've heard of people hearing that whistling sound. I've heard of that. It's like the ringing sound, like ring. I think I've heard that before. I can't remember. I think I've heard that before. But man, one thing y'all don't even know, bro. Oh my God. Y'all don't even know about the tunnels, bruh. Y'all don't even know about the crazy places, bruh. When I say crazy places, I mean not like regular projections. Oh man, bruh, the tunnels are this whole other fucking part of astral projecting. That is a whole different thing. That is something that humans haven't even scratched the surface of. Oh my God, bruh, the tunnels, bruh. Oh man, the tunnels, oh God, dog. Hold on, let me switch over into the other side of my bed. Hold on. Alright, the fucking tunnels sounds like portals. Hold on, I'm gonna tell y'all about these fucking tunnels. Sounds like portals. Are you talking about the holes where you seen the museum? Nah, nah, Shadow. The museum. I'm gonna tell y'all all about these fucking tunnels, bruh. The museum was just like it was like that was just like a doorway. That's kind of like a doorway where it's just like you see a whole nother reality. You go through it. That's kind of like a screen. That's like one of the screens that I saw in one of the tunnels before, but that's not what I'm talking about. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you about this deeper part of astral projecting that relates to what I asked earlier, like how far have you gone? Right, that was partially what I thought you meant by that. So basically, all right, so basically there's there's like deeper parts of your imagination. Like, okay, so you got the maps, right? Like the regular maps, which is basically what you see in everyday life. Okay, so when you're going around the world, you got, you know, your neighborhood, you got places that you've been, you know. So when you fly out in the projection, you fly out your body and you go out of your house and whatever, fly up around your neighborhood and go to the city, wherever you're going, whether like you might be in like a school or a fucking museum or a club or what, wherever the hell you go, the middle of the street, neighborhood, all that shit. That's all like regular real life kind of maps. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Like it's basically like you can even be like in a video game. You could be like in the world of a video game and shit. Like crazy shit. Like stuff like that, right? That's all like regular projections. There's deeper stuff than that. Like those are like regular maps. there's this whole other deeper layer of maps that you can go to that are not like the regular maps. So one time I went to this, I've been to like these multiple different layers of these deeper maps, but I'm a, okay, how the fuck am I gonna break this down? Okay, first of all, they're not structured the same. I went to this one place that was, there was a bunch of these. First of all, I was floating around. There was no roads, there was no houses, there was no none of that. It was basically, no, it's not under the maps. You could fly under the maps, but that's not what I'm talking about. This is totally different. Basically, I was flying around in this big gigantic space, and there was just these huge cubes, but the cubes were made of, they were like 100 foot by 100 foot cubes, like they were gigantic, and they were just floating in the air. Okay, and they were made of thousands and thousands of little pieces, like a Rubik's cube, but it's thousands of pieces that were different sizes, and it was this cube that was shifting like crazy, like it was insane. And there was like a bunch of these cubes, but they're huge, so they're spread out really far apart. Now there's no roads, there's no grass, there's no floor. It's just these cubes floating in this space, and they're made of thousands of intricate details, and the pieces are all shifting around. They're shifting around correctly. So like the pieces, they're moving around in the cube, and moving in, sliding on each other and moving around each other, but they're not moving around each other in a way that doesn't make sense. Like they ain't going through each other and shit. Like they're sliding on top of each other, and they're it's like a real, it's like the way that the cubes are like alive and moving and shifting like gears. They, over time, they are shifting in a way that makes sense. So basically, they're not, yes, like Jenga, yes, like some big ass Jenga cubes, but the part that I'm trying to explain to y'all that's so crazy about it is it's not like some crazy thing that's just morphing all like retarded and just doing anything. It's like a solid structure where the pieces can't go through each other, and they have to logically move in a correct way for other pieces to slide through and move. So yeah, like a bunch of like little pieces that are interweaved, but it's like a solid structure where pieces can't go through other pieces and do stupid shit. It like mechanically works correctly. And there's like thousands of pieces moving at the same time, and I'm looking around at all these gigantic Rubik's Cube Jenga fucking crazy things, and I'm looking at them all moving, and I'm like looking at them, bruh, and I'm like me, right? Like this is some crazy shit, bruh. Because Onyx, I know, bruh. That's what I'm trying. That's why I keep trying to explain to people. I'm like in awareness. I'm like an observer flying around in this fucking map with all these cubes, and I'm looking at them, and I'm thinking while I'm looking at them, how the fuck is my brain making that? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm thinking to myself as I'm flying around looking at them and all the thousands of pieces shifting around correctly and logically. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck am I flying around in my brain and it's making that? Like that, it's like that shit is so fucking insane, bruh. And the thing about it too, that's crazy is that you can see those places in your mind when you're awake by just imagining them. So when you as you're imagining it, as I'm telling you about it, you're actually peering into your that little space that your brain created as I was explaining it. You know what I'm saying? So what you're seeing when you imagine it as I'm explaining it is that fucking it's you're making a new version of it in your own head, in your own brain or whatever, but what you're looking at when you're imagining it is the reality when that you're going in when you astral project. Are flashing as I'm trying to imagine. Okay, that shit you're seeing in the back of your head when you're imagining it, that what you're seeing is you're barely peeking into an actual three-dimensional space that your brain is generating with objects in it. Okay, this is why I keep trying to explain to people and people don't fucking understand me. They don't get that what I'm saying is real. They don't understand. This is fucking real shit. Is when you're imagining, your imagination is the astral projection world. It is. You know how I know this is what it is? I know that this is what it is for a 100% fact, because the way that I go into astral projections now is I lay in bed and I start falling back asleep. And as I'm falling back asleep, I imagine a place in my head. I imagine it like you imagine stuff when you're awake. And as I'm imagining it and falling back asleep, I'm imagining moving forward into that imagination, and I slowly start to become more and more encapsulated in the imagination until I am completely immersed in it. And then I'm going around in it three-dimensionally, then I'm astral projecting. So I go from being awake and imagining the place, and then I push into it, and there is this smooth transition from me imagining it when I'm awake into pushing into it and being fully immersed in it three-dimensionally in an astral projection. That's how I know the imaginations when you're awake. When you imagine something and you see it in your head, that is the astral projection world. Those are the mappings. I know it for a fact. I know it for a fact. I've done it. I've done it so many times, bruh. So it's like the metal, it's like the metal cut just enough to fit together, airtight seal, but turn into, yes, exactly. It's airtight, exactly. They're sliding on each other, but it's made by the brain in the moment when you think about it, because the brain is a reality generating machine. Okay, this is why our waking world has to be made by a brain. Okay, and our awareness has to exist forever, because it's the same shit. This is what I keep trying to tell everybody. You live forever. Your awareness exists forever. We live forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. We have always existed and we always will exist. It is a fact. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. I'm telling people, they human, you see the like there's a lot of people that talk about this shit like the soul lives forever and we're all one consciousness, but they don't understand it to the depth that I understand it. They don't understand structurally that it has to fucking be that way. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is a lot of guys talk about it and they just say a bunch of fucking bullshit. It's one consciousness, and they got the right idea. They're scratching the right surface, but they don't have the framework for how it must be that answer. You know what I'm saying? Like the way that I'm telling you how you imagine something in your head, you fly into it, you're immersed in a three-dimensional reality, you're an awareness embedded in a three-dimensional reality. There's only one way that that can fundamentally occur. That's with the awareness interacting with the brain. And that means this reality has to be made by a large brain. And that means that our awarenesses are just embedded in this other three-dimensional reality, which is the same fucking thing, which means that when we die and our waking brains get destroyed, it's not going to get rid of the awareness. It has to be that way. There's no way around it. There is no fucking way around it. I don't care how many geniuses you line up in a row, they will all get destroyed by this logic. There's no way around it. That is why I like to draw dreams. Man, you can create any fucking thing you want to. You know what the fucked up thing is, though, Shadow? The fucked up thing is that our brains are kind of like, we don't have a super huge amount of control over like defined details and putting them together and building stuff and having the stuff stay the way that we built it for a long time. Like, it's really hard to build your own little neighborhood in your head, because when you start building one house, as you're building the house, parts of the house are already changing as you're building it, because your memory can't fucking stick the shit together. You know what I'm saying? Because the subconscious mind can put shit together really well and really solid, but consciously, it's really hard for us to make our own map. To build our own map and to remember it and to keep the memory of it perfect is like impossible. And that's what sucks. You know what I'm saying? We could barely control our brains. It's making the realities, but we could barely control the shit. And that's because we're monkeys. You know what I'm saying? We're still fucking monkeys. So we barely even know what the hell's going on. We barely know what's going on, and we could barely control it. It sucks, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, eventually as the brain evolves, we'll be able to build our own worlds in our head and go into it whenever we want. You know, that's what's going to happen as the brain evolves and evolves until we're aliens. We're going to be able to make a world in our head and go into it, and it's going to be the same when we go back to it, and we'll be able to work on it and all kinds of, and build it and build our own little cities in our head. And that's what the future is, but we're not there yet. So we just got to be our fucking monkey brains and not barely have control over the reality in our head and just fly around in it and hope we can experience a cool map. You know, we kind of just are going off of like barely being able to control it. I feel like the astral projection lets you experience the closest thing to pure consciousness. And I know it's all inside the brain, but I'm not sure if it would feel the same without the physical brain. Well, Onyx, I don't know if you remember way back when I used to post all the videos when I was telling y'all that I became aware during deep sleep one time. And I was telling y'all, right, exactly, Shadow, exactly. You don't forget it. It still is stored in the memory. It's just the retrieval of the memory is what's like nearly impossible. But yeah, Onyx, I was telling y'all before that there's the surface level black void, which is the sleep paralysis, and then there's a deep black void. And so the surface level black void is just when you're entering REM sleep, right? And then if you look at like the sleep, data of the graphs of like how you go into stages of sleep, and then you got the deepest stage of sleep. Okay, one time I became aware in those really low stages of sleep. So I became aware one time when I was like in deep sleep, and it was like, oh my God, it was such a profound experience. It lasted probably probably like 10 seconds. And it was like, yes, Onyx, it was nothingness. I had no body. I was in a complete black void. And I had almost no thoughts in my head whatsoever. And I had no feelings whatsoever. All it was just, it was the most, like, it was the most peaceful thing I have ever experienced in my life. I mean, it was pure nothingness. There was no thoughts, no body, no visuals. I was just this pure awareness in a black void for like 10 seconds. And I had a slight thought, like this slight thought, a really faint thought of like, whoa. Like that's what it was like. Yeah, the void, exactly, the void. It was a fucking void. It was a fucking void. Man, it was like I had this very, oh, you know how like you always got thoughts popping in your head and shit? There was no thoughts popping in my head at all. Nothing. There was nothing. And then that's I learned a lot about deep sleep from that. I realized I got to see what deep sleep is. You know what I'm saying? Deep sleep, when you go to sleep and you ain't dreaming, you're just in awareness, just in the black void. That's what you're doing when you go to sleep. You're in awareness in a black void, not experiencing anything. Nothing. That's what deep sleep is. It's almost like your awareness is taking a break. It's like your awareness is taking a break from reality. From emotions, from reality, from everything. It's like your awareness is taking a break from everything. That's what you're doing when you're going to sleep. But shit, I gotta go, y'all. I gotta go to sleep. I can't do one of these. Nah, you ain't. It ain't outside space time. You're still in space time, but you know, it's just a void that your brain is a lack of your brain. Your awareness is still pulled into your brain, but your brain isn't generating a reality. Do you think it's gonna be like this in the afterlife? Oh hell no. I think the afterlife is just gonna be you coming right back to fucking right back as another creature. It's gonna be I think the afterlife is basically gonna be I think when you die, there is a very extreme experience of extracting out of your head, and then you're probably going to experience some other thing involved with extracting out of your head and then being put into another brain. That's probably has to do with tunnels. It's probably going to be something with you going through a tunnel, and then you're going to go get pulled out of this head, go into a tunnel, and go right through that tunnel, right straight into another fucking brain. Straight into another reality as a baby being born, or into another life that's already happening. Because, you know, people think about reincarnation. They never think about you flying into the awareness of something that's already halfway through its life. You don't necessarily have to start off in the beginning of a life. You can go right into the middle of a life. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't think about that. See, that's the missing piece of the puzzle. When people, a lot of intellectuals, they get stuck on the idea of reincarnation. Yeah, me neither. I don't want to fucking return either. People, people, yeah, Onyx, when people are sitting, when intellectuals are thinking in their head, they're trying to figure out how reincarnation could logically work, and they come to the problem of, well, do you have to die right when a baby's born, or like, how does that work, or how many babies are there being made and how many people are dying, and does that number have to match exactly? And Yeah, man. The missing piece to that puzzle is people aren't understanding that your awareness can go right into the middle of a life that has already been living for years, and you wouldn't know the difference. You'd go right into that brain with the memories of that brain and not any other memory, and you would have no idea that you just popped into that head just now. I remember something like that when I got struck by lightning in a past life. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I gotta go to sleep, y'all. It was good talking to y'all. I gotta go to sleep. I'm gonna keep this live up so y'all can listen to it. Y'all have a good night, man. I'm gonna see y'all later.